Howdy, howdy, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the internet. My name is Matt Jarbo, and I am not in my normal place. I'm in a different place entirely. You might recognize this particular set because I'm in Los Angeles at the secret, undisclosed location of nerdreport.com. Louis Lecca has been very kind enough to host me during my brief trip to Los Angeles to watch The Rise of Skywalker today, and this is my spoiler-free review. I wanted to put out a full discussion of it later on when we are, when more people have had the chance to see it, because right now, only a handful of people around the world have been able to see it, and it goes wide on Thursday, and people will be able to check it out then, at least here in the States, and then we can have a full-on discussion. So let me at least address, first and foremost, why I'm titling this video the way I did, and why I'm calling it, the reason why, basically, you'll never have to watch The Last Jedi ever again. This movie does almost everything it can to kind of just take Rian Johnson and throw him unrepentantly under a bus, and then back up over it multiple times, all while JJ Abrams sticks his head out the window and goes, choo-choo, mofo, choo-choo. I'm, of course, being a little bit hyperbolic on that one. But no, really, it feels like that. This is not a sequel to The Last Jedi. This is a sequel to The Force Awakens, which is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I was looking for. And so when I sat down today at the El Capitan Theater, for the first time to ever go to that theater, which is beautiful, by the way, to watch this movie, I wasn't too sure what to expect. I had read the leaks. I'd been following the leaks for a while. I generally like to avoid the leaks, but I didn't really believe they were all true. I think deep down inside, I thought this kind of felt like a controlled op. Turns out, no. So if you have read the leaks, this is kind of a spoiler-filled review. If you haven't read the leaks, don't read the leaks. Go see the movie. If you liked The Force Awakens, go see the movie. That's the best thing I can say about this. And I think other people out there are going to probably agree with me on this front, even though a lot of the very, very, very whiny blue check marks on Twitter are going to come out and be like, they threw Rian Johnson under a bus. And then a lot of us who didn't like The Last Jedi are going to sit there and go, yeah, and thank God for it. I mean, there's a reason Rian Johnson wasn't at the world premiere last night, right? Everyone's out there saying that George Lucas was banned, all without any factual, functional, rational, logical information to back their claims. But hey, when you gotta spew for hate clicks on the internet, right? Logic doesn't actually apply. But no, Rian Johnson made a movie 2 years ago that divided the fan base and gave birth to one of the most vitriolic and annoying fan groups on the internet, the Fandom Menace. And I'm saying that because you guys are annoying. And this movie was what I was hoping for to come out and practically just kind of, I was hoping to eliminate a lot of the vitriol because it's been 2 years. It's no longer the movie we have to talk about. Now we have another movie. But the problem with that is that the leaks came out and the leaks painted it in a negative light. People painted it in a negative light. And when you watch the movie and you see it in context, because context always matters on this front, it's perfectly fine. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not a perfect movie. There are a number of glaring issues, some of which are definitely plot related, some of which are dialogue related. But let's be fair, there's never really been that good of dialogue in Star Wars. There's a couple good lines every once in a while, but really this is a space Western. So you're not going to be getting, you're not going to be getting something as eloquently written as a Tarantino film. Although if Tarantino decided to tackle Star Wars, I think I could die happy at that point because his Trek movie is dead, by the way. So this movie, again, it takes place a bit of time after The Last Jedi. We know this because The Last Jedi took place like 18 hours after the events of The Force Awakens, and it failed to just move the needle forward in any conceivable measure. There was nothing for us as fans to look forward to at the end of The Last Jedi. It basically undid everything JJ did at the end of The Force Awakens, and now JJ Abrams is back to try to pick up the pieces and move the needle forward. So this movie is basically like when I said a long time ago that they needed to make this 2 movies, that we just needed to do episodes 9 and episodes 10 and called it a day. This movie basically did that. It's effectively 2 movies rolled into one. And that is going to bother some people. That is going to be okay with some people. And me, I'm totally fine with it. I would like it to have been maybe a little bit longer in some parts, especially with exposition, because I would like to know how certain things came to be. And I would also like it to be a little bit shorter in parts because I want to get back to the action adventure. And that is the big thing to take away from this. I rewatched The Force Awakens going into this movie because I knew that it was going to more or less model that specific idea. And I love The Force Awakens. And here it is 4 years later, and the movie still holds up. I got to sit down with my daughter and watch it. We both had a lot of fun with it. And I'm looking forward to showing her this movie because I feel that it is going to follow in tune and tone with what Abrams set up before it. And the thing is, he was kind of beholden to some of the things that Rian Johnson did, but he took it and he pushed a lot of it to the edges. He really just kind of like barreled through straight ahead, and anything that Johnson really had built up, like let's say, for example, the Holdo maneuver, there is a really funny reference to that and then an absolute shutdown of it, which is the funny part, you know? So that was basically dumping on Rian Johnson. Rose Tico's character, what you see in the trailers, all things considered, is what you see in the movie. There's not a lot of Rose Tico at all in no real conceivable fashion. So if you hated Rose Tico as a character, don't worry, you don't spend a lot of time with her. This movie is flat out about the core central characters. It is about Rey and Finn and Poe and C-3PO and R2-D2, and now the inclusion of Dio. And I like Dio quite a bit. I think Dio is a great little robot. He's fantastic, and just kind of adds to the cuteness of it. And again, is probably designed as a way to sell merchandise, because here it is, you know, December 17th, 2019, and we can buy Dio merch, but I still can't buy a goddamn Baby Yoda. What the hell? I don't get it, right? Why do they torture me like this, you sons of bitches? Now, when I talk about this movie being a space western, this is what I loved about it. The action was awesome. I had so much fun with the action sequences because it felt like high adventure. The group was together. The group was what we wanted, was the group to be together. We wanted Han and Leia and you know, Luke to all be together with Chewie, right? We wanted all of that to take place. And we didn't get that due to circumstances that were happening because Carrie Fisher passed away and because Rian Johnson's a hack. That happened. And so now JJ made sure that the vast majority of the movie, we have all of these characters together on this adventure. And every time one person tries to go off alone because I have to go do this alone, that particular trope, they're kind of like, no, stop it. No, you're not going anywhere. You're with us. Deal with it. And I actually really like that approach, because we got a chance for these characters to interact. We got to see their idiosyncrasies come out. We got to see them have fun with it. We got to see them back, you know, play off each other. And Daisy Ridley said in an interview when asked what is the key takeaway from the movie, and I'm paraphrasing this because I was told this secondhand, but she had said that a lot of it was like hope in this particular time, right? It's a lot of hope and a lot of love. And at the end of the movie, that's exactly what I felt. I felt a lot of hope and I felt a lot of love. And I was tearing up at the end of the movie when like everyone's hugging, you know, sure, it's a Return of the Jedi homage, so to speak. I mean, it's like a special edition Return of the Jedi homage considering some of the things that we see. And I don't really care, because I was also cheering because nostalgia. This movie runs with it and a lot of fan service. And again, I don't care. I don't care. I go to Star Wars because I want to see familiar things. I want to see familiar places. I want to see familiar people. And I also want to see new people, but I also want them to reference a lot of the familiar things. Nostalgia is a real good seller. It's a fantastic drug and I love it. But again, when they showed us everything in regards to the action, especially that final scene was pretty good. The trailers don't do it justice. In fact, the trailers are somewhat so disjointed that you get a really different idea on the trailers as to what actually happens in the movie. And I think that does it a disservice. I have criticized the marketing of the movie. I did feel that they went a little bit too far, showing a few things. And again, a complaint would be some of the new characters they introduce, like Jaina, we don't get a great deal of backstory with, but what we do get's interesting, and enough that where if they brought her character back, or gave her her series or a comic or something, I would like to see where that story goes, because where they leave it is like oh, okay, so her story is getting set up. And I like that, because I thought Naomi Ackie did a really good job, and I liked how her and Finn work together. I mean, she's kind of the new Rose Tico, but she's competent. and there's no Canto Bight. And I know people are going to get mad at me for ragging on the Last Jedi as much as I've been ragging on it. And it's just because that movie frustrates me to my core. This movie doesn't frustrate me. This movie feels like it's Star Wars. Maybe not quintessential Star Wars, but it feels enough like Star Wars. And when you get to the end and you get that redemption arc that we all know is coming, 4 years ago, if I would have known about the leaks, I would have decried it. I would have climbed to the top of Mount Everest and shouted, no! Because I didn't want it. I was so mad at Kylo killing Han Solo, but here they redeemed it. The sad thing about that is that we had to have 2 movies crammed into one. And that's the sad thing. Because not every plot point worked out. In fact, there's a lot of questions that a lot of people are going to have and a lot of people are going to debate over. And that's fine. But I think debating over the plot points of the movie is going to be vastly different than you killed Luke Skywalker for no real reason, you incompetent hack. What the were you thinking? Because that's where we've been for 2 years. Now it's the, wait a minute, hold on a second. What? Why did this happen? Like, is there a line of dialogue we missed there or something? You know, and that's still a little bit better and a little bit more palatable. Now, I will say this before I wrap it up because I've been going on about 10 minutes now. And I want to say, for one, thank you to everyone who worked on this movie. I was looking forward to this movie. I was not disappointed with this movie. I, like Richard Grant in his video, I cheered. At one point in time, something happens, this big thing happens, and I audibly shouted, holy, from the back of the theater. I applauded. I clapped. I was cheerful. I was sad. There's a moment where some character doesn't end up having a very good day, and there's a response that I felt was very visceral coming out of the other character, and I welled up like a mofo because I was just like, oh, I can feel the emotion. Because it's the emotion that we should have felt 4 years ago, all things considered, or 3 years ago in one particular aspect. Because it's been 3 years since Carrie Fisher passed away. Now, does Leia need to be in the movie? No, but it isn't lesser for her having been there. It isn't lesser for her having popped up and them finding a way to make her integral to the story. Now, where do we go from here? Is the story of Skywalker over? According to Kathleen Kennedy, the answer to that is no. And if you get to the end of the movie, I think we all can agree the answer to that is no. It all depends on whether or not we get to see another movie with Daisy Ridley. And again, your mileage may vary on the very end of it, but if you've been following Rey's arc since The Force Awakens, it makes absolute sense because she's always wanted belonging and she got it, just not in the way that she thought. I also want to quickly point out that the lightsaber duels in this were pretty dope. And when you have that final action scene with the lightsabers taking on the bad guys, especially the Knights of Ren, yeah, I was so happy with that. That's what I wanted. Like that kind of visceral combat was what I was thinking that we hadn't gotten yet. And they did a really good job. So anyway, I'm rambling. I'm all over the place here. I like the movie. I plan on seeing it again this week. Your mileage may vary, and that's entirely fine. But I believe if you are a Star Wars fan, whether you are a big one or a small one, or you just happen to tangentially enjoy The Force Awakens, this is going to be one that you're going to look at and go, yeah, I'm okay with this. And then also on the plus side, you never have to watch The Last Jedi ever again, which is quite frankly the greatest gift a Star Wars fan could ask for. Anyway, your thoughts, your opinions, write them down below. Spoiler video coming this week, Friday morning when more people can see it, and we'll do a spoiler discussion probably sometime this weekend. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you again for helping me get to Los Angeles, those of you who helped contribute to the PayPal. If you still like to help out on that one, I still have to get home. So a link in the video description, and I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a fantastic day. May the Force be with you, and peace out.